Hello everyone, welcome to my group's presentation on the flight booking system in sea. As the aviation system keeps increasing, there is a need for efficient and reliable flight booking systems. So my group and I developed a flight booking system that simplifies the flight booking process for individuals and airlines alike. We will be showcasing the features and functionalities of our flight booking system. My name is Daniela Ati, and I'm here with my group members.
I'm the Brighty. Emanuela Isumana.
My name is Diabdalit. I'm Angela Sebastian by name.
Now let's take off and explore the features of our flight booking system in C.
Our program is going to be written in C. In every C program starts with a header. Our first header is the standard input output, and it allows for information to be inputted into the system and brought out as output using the printf and the scanf functions. Our second header is going to be the string header, which allows for string operations to be performed using the string functions such as the strcpy, the strlen, and the strcat functions. Now let's define our constant. The first constant we'll be defining is the max flight, which has a value of 10. It's basically going to specify the maximum number of flights that the system can store. And the next constant we'll be defining is the max destination, which will be used to specify the maximum number of characters the name of the destination can hold. Now we'll be creating a data structure to store the information on the flight. The keyword type def is used to classify the data type, and while the struct keyword is used to create a data structure. So basically, a data structure stores multiple data types. So we'll be storing the destination, the date, the price, and the seats available, which are all of different data types. And we'll give it a name of flight. The next line of code is used to store an array of flight structures. It has a maximum value of the max flight, which we defined earlier as 10 in the previous time I spoke. And it's basically specified the maximum number of flights that can be stored in the system. The next line of code is an integer variable that initializes at 0. It is used to keep track of the number of flights added to the flight array that's here. Now let's welcome my colleague to take us through the rest of the code.
My name is Brighty, a group member of Group 16, and I'd like to continue with the other parts of the code. Okay, after declaring our flight count, integer and variable, and initializing it to 0, we then wrote a function with the name initialize flight, which will be used in the other parts of the code. Yeah. Thereby, we printed a welcome message named the Welcome to Group 16 Flight Booking System, and the welcome message is responsible for making the code look clean and readable when displayed in the terminal. Now, within the function, the first operation formed was the str copy operation, whereby we assign the source Italy to the flight zero's destination. The role of the flight zero destination is to automatically assign a particular destination within the struct, the particular flight array also within the same position mode in the struct. Okay. Thereby, so basically, it's like you assign the destination to the array within the struct of flight. So now within that position, assign the corresponding destination Italy. We earlier declared a struct name max flight of size 10. Therefore, in the next line of code, you assign the date component of the first value of the flight array within the struct the departure date 2025. Yeah, the one here. Okay. So when you assign the date component to this part of this code, When you assign a date component to this part of this code, you thereby move to the flight zero dot price. And what the flight zero dot price does is that it assigns the price, these 300 C's, to the price field. And what the flight zero dot seats available does is that it also assigns the, or it says the seats available towards five. That means that only 5 seats are available for booking. You thereby also move to the next, like the next line of code for Paris. You do the same for Paris, whereby you assign the destination, or you copy the destination, it's Paris, into the destination was field. And where the date, you also copy the flight departure date into the date field, and whereby you also copy the price 250 into the what price was field, and also set the seats available towards five, also meaning the number of seats available for booking for Paris is what, five. You then move to Chicago. You also apply the same principle, whereby you copy the string dash Chicago into the destination field. You also copy the what departure date into the what date field, and also the price into the what price field. Yes. And you finish by initializing the total flights to three. That means you have what flight count of what, three. I would like thank you very much. I would like to hand over to my next colleague to continue with the rest of the code.
Okay, so I go by the name Emanuela Isumanampong, and I'll continue the rest of the code from here. So this line of code actually explains that this line defines that this line defines a function named display flight that does not return any value with the use of the void. I'll move to the next line. So this line also prints a header titled available flight with some leading tabs with the use of the backward slash t for formatting, and adds two new line characters with the use of the backward slash n. That's for spacing. It's actually also giving us two new line characters because it's doubled here. And again, I'll move to the next line. So this line of code actually prints a separation line made of dashes to visually separate the header from the flight details. That's the one above. So again, I'll move to the next line of code. So this line of code also actually explains that this line prints the column headers for the flight details. That's the destination, date, price into brackets, dollars, and the seat available. Yes, that's what it does. And also, the header is separated by the tabs with the use of the backward slash t for alignment. So this line of code also actually explains that another separator line to separate the headers from the actual flight details as stated above. So in this code, on this line of coding, we are actually starting with a for loop statement. And as we all know, the for loop statement, we use the for to start, and in this line of code, this starts a for loop that interacts over the array of flights, and in the loop it runs from I, which is equal to 0, and I is less than flight count, where the flight count is the number of flights available. So here, this line of code, the line prints the details of each flight, and it uses a format specifier, that's the dot percentage s percentage dot 2f. Percentage s is actually for string, percentage dot 2f is for double float numbers, and the percentage d is also for integers. Okay, and the data is also fetched from the flight array at sorry at index I. Sorry, that's the index I above here. Okay, so I'll move to the curly bracket here. So the curly bracket here actually closes the for loop statement stated here. It closes it from the from the rest of the code. And the use of the and sorry, and this printf codes here also actually also explains that the sorry, this line prints another separate line to visually separate the flight details from the following content above. Yes, that's what it actually does. So I'll move to this line of code. And here we are using the curly brackets here to actually closes the display flight formation as stated above.
Okay, I'm Diab Darlington and I'm continuing from where my colleague ended. So, the select flight function over here is defined as an int, which means it returns as an integer. Over here, we print a message asking the user to enter a flight number between 0 and flight count -1. So, the flight count here holds the total number of flights available. Here, the scanf reads the user's input and stores it into the flight index. After that, we return the value. So, the function here in general is basically getting the user's choice of flight. Now, someone may ask, why is the range between 0 and flight count -1? Now, this is because um, the flights are stored in an array, and array indices start at 0. So, flight count is the number of elements, so the last index flight count is -1. Moving on to the second part of the code, the void function we use here returns no integer, but the confirm booking function here takes flight index as a parameter. On this line of code, it checks if the seats available in the flight array at index is greater than 0, as you can see here. Then if there are seats, it decrements seats available by 1, which then reduces the number of seats available. Here, we print a confirmation code with the destination, date and price, as you can see here. And on the same line of code, the price is formatted to two decimal places using %.2f. Now, if there are no seats available, we print a message saying so. Someone may ask, what if the user enters a flight index that is out of bounds? Well, if that happens, the select flight function will prompt the user to enter between 0 and flight count -1. Okay, so I'm Angela Sebastian and I'll be taking you through the rest of the code. So to continue, we have an int main function, and this function serves as the entry point of every program in C, which means without this function, the program written here wouldn't run. Next, we have int choice, and the choice is a variable that stores the response of the user to either book another flight or to create the program. Next, we have a line which is in initialize flight, and this initialize flight populates the flight array with predefined data. Moving on, we have a dual loop, and a dual loop is a loop that runs or repeats at least once before continuing, depending on the user's response. Inside the dual loop, we have display flight, and this display flight calls the display flight function, which prints all available flights with their details such as the destination, the price, the date and the seats available. Moving on, we have int flight index equals select flight, and this calls the select flight function, which asks a user to input a flight index and returns the selected index. Inside the dual loop, we have an if statement, and this if statement here is responsible, or if the condition in this if statement, which is if the flight index is greater than 0 and less than the flight count, then the confirm booking function should continue with the booking. Else, if this condition here is invalid, then the system prints out invalid flight number. Please try again. So outside the if statement, we have a printf function which prints information to the user, and this information here is ask the user if the user wants to book another flight, where the user enters 1 for yes and 0 for no. Next, we have scanf, and this scanf function receives inputs from the user, where the percentage d here represents the data type of the variable choice, and the ampersand choice here stores the response of the user. Next, we have val choice equals 1. So if the choice inputted by the user is 1, then the loop repeats itself. Else, if the choice repeated or inputted by the user is 0, then the system prints out thank you for using the flight booking system. So the return 0 here indicates that the program has ended successfully. So now let's run this program to see how it will look like in the terminal. So we run it, and yes, as you can see here, it displays beautifully welcome to group 16's flight booking system, available flights. So these are the available flights, and it asks the user to enter the flight number to book, it's bracket 0 to 2. So here the number 0 is assigned to Italy, the number 1 is assigned to Paris, and the number 2 is assigned to Chicago. So if the user wants to book a flight to Italy, enters he or she enters 0, and the system prints out booking confirmed for flight to Italy on the date and the price, which is in dollars. And it asks the user if he or she wants to book another flight. So let's say here is the case, the user wants to book another flight to maybe Chicago. Enters 1, and the loop repeats. So since he wants to book a flight to Chicago, he enters 2. But let's say here he mistakenly entered -2, and it prints invalid flight number, please try again. So let's say for this place the user doesn't want to continue again and wants to quit. He enters 0, and the program quits. It says thank you for using the flight booking system. Okay, so I'll end by leaving with this quote. It says the most important thing in programming is not the language, but the problem you're trying to solve or you try to solve. Good for a better tomorrow. Thank you.